that significantly accelerates the timeline from drug development to patients. What used to take years now takes days. Reason number 2, tech scales. When you think of a nonprofit, you might think of a food bank, a physical space or a group of people who directly provide help to people who need it. These are very important organizations. At the same time, they're limited in terms of the number of people that they can help. Unlike traditional nonprofit approaches, technology has the unique ability to scale rapidly. This enables tech nonprofits to reach far more people with minimal incremental cost. Once a digital tool is developed, it can be shared widely without much additional effort or expense, like Lemon Tree. There are more food pantries in the US than there are McDonald's. But most people facing food insecurity don't take that help. People spend hours looking for resources, taking unpaid time off work and paying for transportation, only to arrive at a food pantry that doesn't exist. The information online is not always up to date, and even if you can find a food pantry, the experience can be unpredictable and dehumanizing, with hours-long wait and expired food. Lemon Tree's tech connects families to the free food resources in their backyard, and they make it easy to find where, when, and how to access food assistance. This year alone, they served 270,000 people, a 3x increase from the year before, and they do it all for about $3 a year. Reason number 3, tech nonprofits are solving market failures. Healthcare, education, human rights, these are areas where market forces tend to fall short. The private sector often focuses on maximizing profits, which often leaves essential needs unaddressed. For-profit companies prioritize customers with the greatest profit potential. They target those who are easy to acquire and have the highest lifetime value. And they shape their products for people who can pay. Tech nonprofits flip the script. They begin by focusing on those who need the help most, the people who are too often ignored by the market. Sure, it's true that these populations come with higher costs and lower financial returns, but that is the whole point. For tech nonprofits, the goal isn't profit. It's creating a meaningful impact. Meredith Whitaker, president of the popular app Signal, recently said, "We're a nonprofit because we don't want to be pushed on the incentives that drive for-profit companies." This mission-driven approach shapes everything that tech nonprofits do, like Digital Green. Farmers face a lot of challenges, and they rely on their crop yield for income. One bad week of monsoon season, a pest infestation, or a low water year can lead to dire financial circumstances. Across emerging markets like India, Kenya, and Nigeria, the government provides agricultural extension agents to help farmers increase their yields. These agents are crucial lifelines. They provide training, advice, and support. But there are not enough agents to meet demand. For example, in India, there is only one agent for every 650 farmers. With this in mind, Digital Green developed an AI-powered assistant so agents can support small-scale farmers more efficiently. It helps agents provide tailored advice directly to farmers based on local weather, soil, crops, and prices. The AI is multilingual and multimodal, meaning the agent can prompt it with voice, text, and images. Through this technology, Digital Green has provided assistance to over 6 million farmers. They anticipate reducing the cost 100x for agents. So while for-profit startups are judged by their ability to generate capital returns for investors, tech nonprofits like Digital Green focus purely on generating impact returns that are good for society. There's no need for a double bottom line balancing profit with social good, because social good is the bottom line. Without the pressure to turn a profit, they can respond directly to the real needs of the people they serve without being swayed by market trends. Reason number 4 is that tech nonprofits have startup DNA. As we all know, entrepreneurship is an engine for creating value and driving progress. The spirit of entrepreneurship, often associated with Seoul and Silicon Valley, is something that tech nonprofits have fully embraced. They have the same agility and ambition that you find in a startup. They start by identifying a real-world problem, whether it's improving education outcomes, clean water, or addressing poverty. And just like a startup seeks out product market fit, they focus on developing the product for the customer who needs their help. While traditional nonprofits may shy away from high-risk projects, Tech nonprofits, just like startups, are willing to take calculated risks. They embrace failure as a learning opportunity, and they know that every failed experiment brings them closer to a breakthrough solution. This willingness to push boundaries allows them to innovate. They adopt the latest advancements in tech to optimize their operations, and they are resource efficient. Tech nonprofits often operate with lean teams, just like many startups in the early stages. This forces them to make the most of every dollar, focusing on what truly drives impact. They're nimble, and they make rapid adjustments as circumstances change. They attract entrepreneurial talent, people who might otherwise join the for-profit startup world, but are drawn to the mission focus of nonprofits. Reason number 5, tech nonprofits leverage emergent technology for impact. It's time to talk about the intersection of nonprofit and AI. As we all know, AI is changing everything. Social change organizations are no exception. Nonprofit entrepreneurs are rapidly adopting emerging AI tools to make the world a better place. Recent research from Google shows that AI is driving progress towards all 17 Sustainable Development Goals, but is showing extra impact in Goal 3, Health and Well-being, Goal 4, Quality Education, and Goal 13, Climate Action. Bill Gates agrees, if we make smart investments now, AI can make the world a more equitable place. It can reduce or even eliminate the lag time between when the rich world gets an innovation and when the poor world does. In our most recent applicant pool, Fast Forward saw a 600% increase in AI applicants compared to the year prior. And this is good news. Technological advancement often overlooks the needs of the most vulnerable. We need to prepare nonprofits for transformation stemming from AI and make sure that they are not left behind this time. That is why Fast Forward embarked on a mission to demystify AI for humanity. We coined the term AI-powered nonprofits, also known as APNs, to describe organizations that have AI at the heart of their work. Organizations like COCO, which was founded by Dr. Rob Morris, who you will soon meet. COCO's using AI to catch self-harm and suicidal behavior on social media and intervenes to help young people's well-being. At Fast Forward, we developed a framework for helping grant makers and social innovators understand the AI-powered nonprofit space, which we published in Stanford's Social Innovation Review. And we're working hard to make sure their stories are told in the media and through initiatives like our newsletter on AI for Humanity. And we're so proud to grant millions of dollars to emerging AI-powered nonprofit leaders. But perhaps most importantly, we're creating a category to support their growth because you can't build what you can't see. And AI presents us with a chance to solve problems at a scale and speed that we've never seen before. Tech nonprofits have an opportunity to meet that potential, and we want to help them actualize it. So now that you know why we invest in tech nonprofits, I want to share with you how we choose which organizations to support. Our only hard requirement is that the nonprofit has a minimum viable product. We believe that an MVP demonstrates seriousness. But beyond having a minimum viable product live, we use a set of key criteria to evaluate whether a tech nonprofit is the right fit. First and foremost, leadership is crucial. Tech nonprofits are hard, so we look for strong, visionary leaders, like the leaders I talked about today, who can navigate the dual challenges of building a tech startup and running a nonprofit. We value leaders who are adaptable and well-versed in the problem they are addressing. Tech talent is another critical factor. For tech nonprofits to succeed, technology must be at the core of the organization's mission and not an afterthought. Ideally, this means having tech talent in leadership positions from the start, but we also support organizations that have clear plans to bring in technical expertise as they grow. Next, we assess the nonprofit's impact potential. We are interested in solutions that have the ability to make a real measurable difference. This includes both the breadth and the depth. By breadth, we mean how many people or communities could be helped, and by depth, we mean how deeply the nonprofit can help the individuals that they serve. We also place a strong emphasis on scalability. We prioritize organizations that have a clear path to scale. This may be through expanding geographically, reaching new demographics, or any other number of strategies to reach more people who need the help. Finally, lived experience plays a key role in our selection process. We believe that leaders who have personally experienced the problems that they're solving are uniquely positioned to create meaningful solutions. Like Jared Walker from $4, Laura Kleiman from Reboot RX, and Dr. Rob Morris from Coco, this perspective brings invaluable insights and empathy to the work. By combining leadership, tech talent, impact, scalability, and lived experience, we can identify the tech nonprofits that are poised to make the greatest impact and help them get there faster. As we come to the end of our time today, I want to leave you with this. The challenges that we face as a world, from mental health challenges to climate change, are vast and complex. But with complexity comes opportunity. And in today's world, that opportunity is grounded in entrepreneurship and technology. The stories that you've heard today all speak to the power of tech to do extraordinary good. Tech nonprofit entrepreneurs are building the future. So to bring it back to Brett Taylor, while we might not be able to predict the future, we can predict what will happen tomorrow if we apply our best tech to solving some of humanity's most urgent problems. By focusing on underserved populations, tech nonprofits fill critical gaps and ensure that the most vulnerable among us are not left behind. But none of this happens by chance. The work we do at Fast Forward and the work being done by the incredible entrepreneurs that we support and in this room is only possible because of an ecosystem of support. Philanthropists, technologists, and innovators like you. Please reach out if Fast Forward can support you on your philanthropic or tech nonprofit journey. The QR code leads to our website where you can find that weekly funding email that I mentioned, and for humanity, and so much more. Together, we can create a future where technology serves not just the few, but all of humanity, and I believe that's a prediction that we can bet on. Let's make that future a reality. 감사합니다.
네, 여러분, 기술님께 뜨거운 박수 부탁드리겠습니다. 네, 사례를 통해서 기술님은 비영리 조직이 가지는 영향력에 대해서 잘 짚어주셨고요. 또 어떤 조직이 사회적으로 그리고 또 투자 관점에서 매력적인지에 대해서도 잘 짚어주신 것 같습니다. 고맙습니다. 자, 이렇게 첫 번째 연사님을 만나봤고요. 계속해서 두 번째 연사님 모시도록 하겠습니다. 다음은 청소년 정신건강 위험을 해결하기 위해 설립된 비영리 조직 코코의 공동 설립자이신 로버트 모리스 박사님을 모셔보도록 하겠습니다. 박사님이 계신 코코는 틱톡, 핀터레스트, 텀블러, 오픈 AI 등 온라인 플랫폼과 협력해 유해한 콘텐츠를 마주했을 때 도움을 주는 디지털 중재 서비스를 제공하고 있다고 합니다. 리콜턴 연사님이 계신 패스트 포워드뿐만이 아니라 Y 컴비네이터 등 다양한 자선재단의 지원을 받고 성장하여 지금까지 500만 명 이상의 사람들에게 도움을 주고 계신다고 하는데요. 자, 그럼 로버트 모리스 연사님을 무대 위로 모시도록 하겠습니다. 환영의 박수 부탁드립니다.
Hello. There's something we can't turn away from. Youth mental health is an urgent global crisis. In the past year, in the United States, nearly 1 in 5 students seriously considered suicide. Nearly 1 in 10 reported making an attempt. This is not just a United States issue, this is a global issue. Unfortunately, most young people struggling with mental health do not get the help they need. There's simply not enough therapists available, and sadly, there probably never will be. Now, because this is a global problem, we need to find ways to make a global impact. To make a global impact, Coco's approach is to reach young people where they are. And where are young people? They're on social media, they're on Instagram, they are on TikTok, they are on Discord, they are on these platforms sometimes up to 9 hours a day. And social media is the #1 place young people go for mental health information. But these platforms were not meant to treat mental health conditions. If anything, for many people, they make things worse. But what if we could flip this around? What if these platforms could be part of the solution, not just the problem? If we could do that, if we could leverage these platforms and the incredible scale that they have, we could help tens of millions of people all around the world. And this is what we're working on here at Cocoa. We leverage online platforms that young people use every day to ensure that help is just one click away. Let me show you how this works. We use AI to help identify young people in distress and to identify dangerous mental health content. We then route those young people to our interventions, our free evidence-based interventions that work directly in the platforms they use. They can be embedded into TikTok and Discord and Tumblr. Now let me tell you a story about a person on Cocoa. This person wrote and said, "My mom thinks I'm faking my depression. She calls me disgusting all the time. I hate myself." Now this person has two paths they could potentially go down. In one path, she starts to think, well, maybe I am disgusting. Maybe there is something wrong with me. Maybe there is something wrong with my body. And she goes online, she goes onto YouTube and starts looking for dieting videos. And she starts to see more extreme versions of those videos. And eventually, the algorithm starts to send her videos of pro-anorexia content, and her mental health trajectory is in a very, very dark place. Now let's think about a better path, and one that this actual person went down. So instead of seeing these extreme dieting videos, they were routed to one of our free online body image courses that runs directly on the platform she's using. This is a course we developed with collaborators at Stanford and Dartmouth, and it's something we design and we work relentlessly hard to make it as engaging and appealing as possible while still being effective. Every day we're helping young people feel better about themselves and their bodies. We're helping young people who are struggling with thoughts of suicide and self-harm. We are one of the most evidence-based tech digital mental health platforms in the world. We have 8 peer-reviewed papers, 2 randomized controlled trials with many wonderful collaborators. I'll tell you a little bit about the interventions we provide. One type of intervention is a single session intervention. This is based on the idea that for many young people, it's simply not practical or possible for us to give them a 12-week course of cognitive therapy. We have to understand that we may have a very limited amount of time with a young person, and so we have to advance the science to make sure we're making a meaningful and measurable impact in that short amount of time. We build interventions for topics like body image, eating disorder, also depression, anxiety, and self-harm. And we see significant clinical results, even in those short time frames. We see improvements in measures related to hopelessness, self-hatred, motivation to stop self-harming, and body image. We also have an AI-powered peer support system. So we use AI to help empower users to help each other feel heard and understood, to help them feel more hopeful about the world. And one of the beautiful things about this platform is that we find when others help each other, and those that help each other the most on the platform show the most pronounced reductions in depression symptoms. It's a beautiful example of how you can help yourself by helping others. And it's responsive to daily events and news around the world. As you know, there's a terrible crisis in Lebanon, in Gaza, and Israel. And just 2 weeks ago, we received an email from a young 17-year-old who lives in Lebanon and said, you know, I think it would be a great idea to introduce Cocoa to young people everywhere. Since this war has mentally affected everyone, I would love to help you guys on your journey to make Cocoa a mental health resource accessible and known by every youngster in Lebanon. So we've been in over 50 countries, and I'll talk a little bit more about how we are expanding, but it just shows how we can use technology to scale all over the world. Cocoa is something I started for myself. I will tell you that story in a moment. Our first randomized controlled trial had about 166 people, and we've now, since 2022, reached about 4 million people, mostly young people. Our average age is about 15. So let me tell you the story, the Cocoa journey story. Cocoa started when I was a graduate student at MIT in 2014. I was struggling with my own mental health, to be honest, and I needed to build something to help myself. And this is the first lesson I'd love to impart to you all. Entrepreneurship is very, very hard. It is a marathon, it is not a sprint. You have to be really driven by your cause. You have to do something that matters to you. Mental health is something that matters to me personally. When we launched Cocoa out of MIT, we actually started as a for-profit organization. We raised traditional venture capital from Union Square Ventures in New York City. And we built an iPhone app, and we got early traction through publications like Wired, and we had designers building these beautiful iPhone applications. And we started to get real traction. And one of the most important lessons I learned was to talk to your users, talk to your beneficiaries and stakeholders, really try to understand what their problems are and how to solve them. And when we did that, we learned some really interesting things. We learned that we could better reach young people where they are by building messenger platforms, not an app that they go download, but messengers that actually fit into the ecosystem, into the platforms they use every day. Once we did that, our growth skyrocketed. It was hugely transformational. And this is another lesson I'd love to share. Don't be afraid to throw out ideas, especially ones you love. We spent months and months building this beautiful iPhone app, and then one day we had to throw it out. It was very difficult, but you have to do that. We started to search for a business model, and what we discovered was we could build deep learning models. This is very early days of AI. And we wanted to build models to help identify people in distress online. We wanted to help social networks remove dangerous material, like those pro-anorexia videos I was showing. So we thought we had this idea where we could help people and get revenue. Unfortunately, our earned revenue was not enough with this model. Venture capitalists want to see revenue go like this. Our revenue was like this. Social networks care about mental health, but they didn't care enough to support us. However, we learned that our algorithms could be retrained quite easily and solve other problems like fraud, hate speech, sex trafficking. That was a compelling business model. But it meant mental health was no longer a part of the picture. So this is another important lesson. In a for-profit organization, revenue is the most important consideration. It can be hard, it's not impossible, but it can be hard to be focused on impact when you're trying to optimize for revenue. Revenue is of course important for nonprofits as well, but it is not the singular goal. Eventually, we sold Cocoa to Airbnb, but I fought really hard to keep the name and to keep our mental health platform. I always hoped I could bring it back somehow. And thanks to organizations like Fast Forward and Y Combinator, we were able to relaunch Cocoa as a nonprofit. And this enabled us to help focus on underserved individuals, young people for whom there isn't a compelling business model. There's a market failure here. So what's next for us? We are expanding our network of strategic partners. We understand that we cannot help everyone. As your nonprofit grows, the next best step is to start building out your ecosystem, to start looking for partners to help make your impact even more scalable. We're working with wonderful groups like peers.net and universities in the United States. We are also expanding globally. We have translated Cocoa interventions into Mandarin and Hindi, and we're seeing incredible results in those populations. We would love to bring Cocoa to Korea and translate Cocoa into Korean. And we're looking for partners and people to help make that happen. So I want to thank you all for inviting me. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for your support.
네, 오늘 이야기했습니다. 그렇습니다. 네, 코코가 가진 기술력과 또 영향력에 대해서 들어봤는데요. 코코 플랫폼이 누군가에게는 정말 생명의 동화줄이 될 것 같은데 이렇게 단단한 동화줄이 되기까지 패스트 포워드와 같은 다양한 또 재단의 지원이 있기 때문에 가능한 것 같습니다. 좋은 말씀 잘 들었습니다. 자, 이제 다음 분 또 소개하도록 하겠습니다. 다음은 그로스 해커들의 길드라고 불리는 마케팅 랩의 정성현 대표님을 모셔보도록 하겠습니다. 정성현 대표님은 국내에서 선도적으로 그로스 해킹을 소개하고 룸, 한국신용데이터, 클래스 101 등 다양한 기업의 그로스 팀을 성장시키셨다고 하는데요. 특히 2021년부터 아산 기업리 스타트업 성장 파트너로 참여해서 오늘의 참여팀인 계단 부셔 클럽, 유웨이즈, B2B, 온기 등 기업리 조직의 그로스 해킹 학습과 임팩트 성장도 도우셨다고 합니다. 자, 그럼 정성영 연사님을 따뜻한 박수로 모시겠습니다. 박수 부탁드릴게요.
안녕하세요, 여러분. 반갑습니다. 네. 구석구석에 제가 좋아하는 분도 많이 보이네요. 안녕하세요. 네. 성장 파트너 정성영입니다. 저는 non-profit이 아닌 full profit에서 왔어요. 네. 그리고 non-profit을 배우면서 beyond profit이 무엇일지 되게 고민을 하게 됐고 그런 것들을 실제 삶에서 실천하시는 분들을 보면서 굉장히 많이 도전도 받았고 제 스스로가 성장했다라는 약간의 간증도 하고 싶었습니다. 제가 오늘 들고 온 주제는요. 제가 여러 비영리 스타트업들과 같이 협업을 하면서 공통적으로 나오는 문제와 공통적으로 나오는 문제 해결 방법 이런 것들이 여기 계시는 많은 비영리 스타트업 그리고 잠재 비영리 스타트업 분들께 도움이 되지 않을까라고 해서 설명을 드리려고 왔습니다. 그래서 두 가지 키워드를 들고 왔고요. 하나는 이 비영리 스타트업이 만들어가자고 하는 그 운동, 그 무브먼트를 팬덤 베이스로 키워나가자. 이게 첫 번째고 두 번째는 그 팬덤 베이스를 통해서 우리가 만들어진 커뮤니티를 더욱더 우리의 무브먼트를 만들어가는 빌더들로 전환시키고 이분들로 하여금 다음 세대를 운영을 하자. 이런 맥락에서 멤버십을 들고 왔습니다. 저는 정성영이고요. 편하게 폴이라고 불러주시면 좋고요. 아까 풀 프로핏이라고 말씀드렸는데 그로스 해킹이라는 거를 한 줄로 정리를 하자면 기업의 매출을 과학적인 방법들로 성장시키는 방법들이에요. 이런 것들을 저는 연구를 하고 실제 현업에서 적용을 해서 기업들이 매출 혹은 주요 지표들을 올릴 수 있도록 돕는 일들을 하고 있고요. 사실 다양한 경험들을 겪었지만 제가 가장 스스로 뿌듯하고 자랑스러워하는 저의 레주메는 다둥이 아빠라는 겁니다. 네, 보통 다둥이 아빠라고 하면 몇 명 정도로 생각하세요? 셋? 네. 얼마 전 서울시 기준이 2명으로 줄었다고 합니다. 네, 2명부터는 다둥이라고 부르셔도 된다고 해요. 네, 저는 5 키우고 있습니다. 네, 아주 익숙한 반응이고요. 박수까지. 감사합니다. 그래서 제가 대한민국 평균을 좀 올려놨으니까 여러분께서 편하게 좀 2세 계획을 하셔도 될 것 같고요. 제가 소개하고자 하는 내용을 한 장으로 압축을 하자면 이 얘기일 것 같아요. 제가 만나본 많은 비영리 스타트업 분들은 정말 비저너리시고 그 비전의 소명을 갖고 계시고 그 소명을 부족한 자원, 그게 이제 시간일 수도 있고 돈일 수도 있고 인적 자원일 수도 있고 아니면 유틸라이즈 할 수 있는 지식이 될 수도 있는데 그 부족한 자원을 정말 쥐어 짜내서 그 성과들을 만들어내세요. 정말 리스펙하는 분들이고요. 이분들의 마음을 얘기를 하다 보면 이 문장으로 이제 좀 정리가 되는 것 같아요. 제발 나 외에 다른 사람들이 우리가 만들어가고자 하는 혹은 우리가 해결하고자 하는 이 사회 문제에 대한 팬으로 시작을 하고 점점 멤버가 되어서 함께 일하고 다음 대표까지 그래서 이 무브먼트를 계속 이어갔으면 좋겠다. 정말 이게 제가 이분들이랑 같이 협업을 하면서 느꼈던 니즈였던 것 같아요. 네, 그래서 제가 좀 단어를 좀 기왕이면 같은 그라운드에서 얘기를 해야 되기 때문에 정의를 했습니다. 제가 말하고자 하는, 오늘 설명하고자 하는 팬덤은 기본적으로 이 열성적으로 우리의 무브먼트를 지지해주고 정말 이거 열심히 퍼나르시는 분들을 뜻하고요. 멤버십은 프로젝트 파트너나 프리랜서 혹은 활동 멤버로서 잠재 대표님으로서 우리와 함께 이것들을 만들어가는 빌더들을 뜻합니다. 그럼 이제 팬덤부터 얘기를 해볼게요. 팬덤이 중요한 이유에 대해서 여러분들 충분히 느끼시겠지만 팬덤이 중요한 이유는 이게 기본적으로 지속적인 후원 유도를 만들어낼 수 있는 일종의 가두리 망이기 때문에 그렇습니다. 그래서 정말 우리는 아까 소셜미디어 코 얘기를 해주셨지만 어텐션을 위해서 싸워야 되는 상황이거든요. 여러분이 정말 사람들이 미디어의 노출이 너무나도 파편화되어 있고 많아지고 있기 때문에 여기에서 그 사람들의 관심 그리고 그 사람들의 어떤 참여 이런 것들을 위해서 싸워야 되는 상황인데 그런 맥락에서 점진적으로 한 번 노출을 하고 아니야 라는 사람들을 그냥 이거는 기회가 아닌가 봐요 하고 내보내는 게 아니라 그래요? 지금은 여기까지만 관심 있으시면 일단 이거 좀 관심 있어서 보이시다가 그 다음에 커밋할 수 있는 생각이 좀 더 들면 좀 더 다음 단계를 얘기를 해봐요. 그게 단순한 웹사이트 방문이라든지 우리 소셜미디어에서 우리가 하고 있는 일들 영상을 보고 그거를 추천을 한다든지 혹은 우리 웹사이트에 들어와서 주회원으로서 가입을 하고 뉴스레터를 통해서 우리 브랜드가 하고 있는 일들에 대한 귀를 기울이시고 그거를 널리 알리키는 어떤 이런 분들이 되기까지 단계적으로 우리가 그분들을 어텐션을 관리를 하고 커미트먼트를 관리를 하고 더 나아가서 이거를 적극적으로 널처링을 해야 돼요. 그래서 우리가 어떻게 하면 이들을 어느 단계에 있든 우리의 팬덤으로 점점 빌드업을 할까 이 부분에 대한 고민이 많이 필요하다는 겁니다. 그래서 과거의 팬덤과 현재의 팬덤에서의 차이들이 발견되고 있어요. 너무나도 당연히 여기시겠지만 이게 주요 소통 채널이 달라진다는 점이 있고요. 그리고 관계의 깊이, 그래서 정체성을 느끼면서 이건 곧 나야 혹은 나는 내가 good person. 네, 다들 혹시 영화 보셨는지 모르지만 good person이라는 걸 느끼는 데 있어서 이런 활동을 하기 때문에 이게 나야. 이런 것들이 이제 흔히 말하는 요즘 젊은 세대들이 굉장히 브랜드에 대해서 어페니티를 느끼는 부분이거든요. 그리고 장기적으로는 이들과 함께 커뮤니티 형성 혹은 사회적 자본을 구축을 하고 우리가 필요할 때 혹은 심지어 필요를 모르는 상황일 때도 이 사회적 자본을 기반으로 우리의 무브먼트가 더 퍼져나간다는 점이죠. 그래서 예시를 들자면 제가 모든 비영리 스타트업들을 알고 있는 건 아니지만 제가 함께 협업해봤던 예시들은 이런 것들이에요. 예를 들어서 이제 뉴웨이즈 같은 경우는 쉽게 이해하는 정치 학습지라는 핵심 밸류가 있어요. 그러니까 이게 전체는 아니에요. 하지만 학습지 공짜로 받아볼래요? 라고 했을 때 그럴싸한데? 이런 생각 드시잖아요. 이 미끼를 하나로 일단은 주내원 가입을 시킵니다. 주내원과 정회원의 차이는 이제 웹사이트에 가서 보실 수 있어요. 근데 이메일 하나만 입력을 하더라도 우리가 당신한테 정기적으로 개인화된 자동화된 컨텐츠를 발송을 해줄 거예요. 이런 것들이 이제 굉장히 쉽게 사람들을 우리의 팬덤으로 일단은 발을 들일 수 있게 한다는 점이에요. 그리고 이제 이들과 계속 소통해서 후원해온 민시라든지 이제 뉴웨이즈의 이제 진짜 꼼수는 뭐냐면 이 정치인이라는 후원자를 만들어내야 되거든요. 그래서 젊은 정치인들을 정말 이 사회에서 키워내고 이들의 후원 베이스를 우리 에이전시가 같이 키워보자 라는 미션을 갖고 있는 팀인데 이런 것들을 하기 위해서 사회적 자본을 계속 키우는 가두리만으로 쓰고 계시다는 거죠. 또 개풀풀 같은 경우는 이동약자를 위한 데이터 수집, 가공, 코호트 커뮤니티를 운영하고 있어요. 이런 표현으로 본인들이 쓰시진 않지만 외부인이 제가 봤을 때는 이거는 말 그대로 메카니컬 터크 같은 사람이 데이터를 만들어내는 그런 그 미션이거든요. 근데 이거를 굉장히 즐겁고 굉장히 재밌고